stunning looks than swift.
Well, take World Cup cricket lightly at your own peril. It is a score. It's a score after winning the toss and batting first for Afghanistan against the mighty India, who now have to get 273 courtesy of Afghanistan's captain, batting exactly how Steyn and Anil Kumble wanted the Afghan batters to. He batted time, he got an 80, didn't get the big one, but able support from Azmatullah Omarzai ensures that Afghanistan have a score to challenge India. We look back at that innings, which had multiple moments and talking points on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Matchday. Dale and Anil are here. So, 272, Dale Steyn, how do you feel about that score if you're Afghanistan?
I'm just happy that I finally got one close to, I guessed one close, you know. But yeah, for Afghanistan, I think they'll be happy with that. But now that they've gotten to a score of 270, they'll probably look back on that innings and feel like they may have left 30 out there somewhere, maybe even 20 out there somewhere, had they batted it a little bit differently. Like we always say, this is what you need to do. You need to bat out 50 overs. And I thought they did that really well. And then there were small pockets in the game where they probably could have then applied a little bit more pressure and acceleration to the innings, and that would have gotten them to potentially even that 300. Right. But runs on the board, and their bowlers will walk into the dressing room feeling, who knows, you know, a couple wickets here, and they could put India under a lot of pressure.
Oh, we saw 400 plus in the last game at Delhi, Anil. So would India be saying, yeah, I mean, they were always going to get a score looking at how good conditions were for batting?
No, it's a good surface. I mean, credit to Afghanistan. They batted really well. It's important that they batted long, and the skipper showed the way. Yes, though I thought Kuldeep bowled exceptionally well in those middle overs. He kept the Afghan batters under leash, and 273, they should say, okay, this is a good score, and if they can, like Dale mentioned, if they can knock a couple of wickets with the new ball, then the spinners will certainly come handy. So it's a very competitive score, and India need to bat really well here.
Yeah, and remember, we've established that their strength is their bowling. So if their batters just keep them in the game, you never know with Afghanistan. But let's talk about the batters before we talk about India's bowlers. Shahidi and Omarzai as a surprise player to stand up for, and we're looking at the top three. Top three got 20s and 16s. A nice little middle order, almost a classical ODI partnership that was built and stitched. Dave?
Yep, exactly what we said, that we thought their problem was before this game started, was that their middle order needed to fire, and they've rectified that today. Guys have come out, captain stood up from the front, scored some runs, and it's exactly what they needed to get themselves to a competitive total. And like I say, there was probably small series of in the game, or areas in the game where they could have probably accelerated a little bit more to get themselves a few more runs. But this is exactly what Afghanistan need to do more often to get those scores of 300 and become competitive.
Yeah, I mean, those 5 sixes in that, and while Kuldeep has done really well to just concede 40, he's also conceded 3 sixes. Azmatullah Omarzai seemed to take a liking to hitting Kuldeep for 6, which isn't easy given how well Kuldeep's bowling these days. Yeah,
and also the length. I thought it was really well bowled. It's just that he just went through with the shot, and you're knowing fully well that if you get it somewhere close to the middle of the bat, you'll still clear because it's Delhi, and the boundaries are shorter. So, but credit to the Afghan batters. You know, Kuldeep certainly bowled well, and I thought India bowled really well. Yeah, Siraj had a off day, but otherwise Bumrah was exceptional.
Let's talk. Let's talk straight about him.
Yeah, it was a fantastic spell. You know, on a good surface. We have seen 400 runs come off in the previous game, and then to come and do what he did. The first wicket was a good one. Again, Rahul took a good catch. Yeah. But post that, I thought he really bowled well, and you could see that every Afghan batter was wary of Bumrah coming on.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at his figures, going at under 4 and over, and yes, you could say, okay, it's Afghanistan, but Siraj, who's in great bowling form, has gone at nearly 8.5. So I guess usually we said from the outside, sign of greatness, which you know a thing or two about, is going at 4 and over even when it's that easy. 4 for 39. What makes Bumrah effective even on extremely difficult or unfriendly conditions to bowl on?
Yep, couple of different things. Firstly, his action. Obviously, if you're not familiar with that action, it can rush you. And it's a little bit strange, the angles that he plays with and the speed that it comes at. But then obviously his accuracy. And the first wicket that he picked up, if we somehow get a stats view of this, you'll see he bowled wonderful areas, and it was just there hitting the splice of the bat, and then all of a sudden he realized that hitting the top off stump was probably not the length that you needed to go at. brought that length back slightly shorter. Batter was caught between going forward and back, raised on him a little bit and found the edge. So smart too. He just knew when to draw his length back a little bit, similar to the way that KG got Kusal Mendes out the other night. And all of a sudden there was a little bit more zip on it. And then you throw him in the death overs where he's so good, just lands his Yorker at will. He becomes a real wicket-taking threat. Today he proved exactly what he's worth.
I mean, we say action and you think Bumrah's now been around a long time. And I go back to the Mitch Marsh wicket too the other day, caught it slip. Is he the kind of bowler that even if you've played him, the action is still not easy to get used to? Because you think by now, so many of these guys would have seen him, done the video analysis, should be used to, you should know what to expect from Bumrah, and yet when you're out there, it's different.
You would think so. I hated facing any bowler, no matter what their action was. But I mean, you look at guys that have got strange actions. Malinga, you can face him a million times and it will still take a while to get familiar with where the ball's coming from and how it comes out of his hand and trajectory and everything. And Bumrah is much the same. You can face him all day, and then when you get out into the middle, all of a sudden there's a little bit more zip. There's just something different about him to what it feels like from other regular running-in bowlers, that you see the ball in their hand, you see their gather nice and smooth, and it looks easy to the eye. Bumrah certainly is not that easy to face.
He's made such a point of difference since his return, hasn't he, Anil?
No, he's a big player for India. And Bumrah is the key in the bowling department, and Kuldeep is the key as far as spinners is concerned. So these two certainly stood out for India today. And yeah, like Dale mentioned, Bumrah's action and the pace at which he bowls, and even the slower ones. You know, the difference between the fast ball that he bowls and the slower one is massive. So as a batter, despite how many times you play him, it still takes that fraction of a second for you to sort of decide as to what you need to do. And you know, you need to also get used to the surface. So every surface is different. So he comes at a very different angle for you to get used to.
Very good from Bumrah, but let's talk about Siraj. At the back of that incredible Asia Cup final display, Anil, and then fair to say perhaps the least effective of the bowlers against Australia, and today none for 76. What happens to Siraj on these days?
I think it's just just the surface itself. He's looking constantly for wickets, and then when that is not forthcoming, he tries too hard and then sort of gives room to the batters. Today we saw early on even to Gurbaz, and then later on to both the batters, you know, Azmatullah and Hashmatullah, both of them. He gave enough room for them to sort of go under and hit those boundaries. So he gets excited. He wants to be in the middle and be that man who can get wickets. When he doesn't get it, he tries too hard. So just possibly just pull back a bit and then just bowl those good areas and get away from that over rather than always looking for a wicket.
I mean, how do you temper a character like Siraj? I guess is a challenge or a question. Will he just get better as he gets more experienced? You don't want him to lose what he's got, because when he gets on a roll, he'll just run through, and then when he doesn't get on a roll, you're like, no, what are you doing? You know, and at the end, you can save these runs, and you're conceding these boundaries, which could be the difference. So I don't know, how do you temper a character like Siraj?
I think with Rohit there, he's a good captain, and Rahul Dravid, he's got some good senior statesmen around him that can help him with that. I watched him the other day when he bowled. He was bowling to someone in the Australia game, and he could have easily just closed out the innings, but he searched for a wicket. And then you could see Rohit went up to him and said to him, what are you doing? And he almost argued with Rohit to say, oh, this is what my thinking was. But it was like, no, your thinking had gone against what the team needed you to do. And sometimes you just need somebody at mid-off to come over to you and just say something to you, which just reminds you what is important to the team right now. And you've got some good senior players over there, whether it be Virat or Rohit or in the management staff, that can help him. But for now, he's one of those guys that when he has a good day, he's going to get you 4 or 5 wickets. And when he has a bad day, he's going to be like anybody else that could go for runs. The key thing is he creating opportunities for you? That's the most important thing. If he's not creating opportunities for you and he's still going for runs, then you can question him. But he's still creating opportunities, and that's a good thing for him.
Yeah, I mean, there's no threat or conversation about, oh, Shami may be ahead of Siraj just yet. No, it's only yet. 2 games back that he won India.
It's been only 2 games. Yeah, it's been only 2 games.
All right, fair enough. We leave it right there. But Hashmatullah Shahidi, on his way to that wonderful 80, he gave us a lovely little incident which we did not miss, and he did not miss either. When he was batting, I think 16 out of 27, 28 balls, 21st over when Jadeja was bowling, went for a wild swing, and you felt like That wasn't a shot that we thought Shahidi would be playing with, how he paces his innings. And he got a top edge for 4, but he wouldn't have been bothered with the result because he was prompt to go to the umpires and signal that Rohit Sharma has got his field wrong. There are only 4 fielders inside the ring, so that would be a default no ball and a free hit that would be forthcoming, and that is exactly what happened. Now, it's not something you see often because he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew the ball's coming, and this is effectively him getting 2 free hits, so he might as well have a crack. Anything like that you've seen before?
Yeah, we were talking off air actually, and I remember the first IPL, Stephen Fleming actually doing that. I was standing somewhere, probably square leg, and all of a sudden, uncharacteristically, Stephen Fleming just had this wild swing, and I don't know what happened, whether it went for 4 or 1, it doesn't really matter. And him then going to the umpires and letting them know that there was only 3 fielders in the ring, so it should be a no ball. Bang, no ball. So it's rare, but smart cricketers, they often see these things. And,
you would classify that as smart cricket and presence of mind, and not tell the opposition, oh, you got 1 in.
No, of course, it is smart cricket.
Yeah.
It is awareness about the field and what you are doing, and that really shows that Hashmatullah was on the dot there, every ball looking at where the fielders were, and as soon as he noticed it, he capitalized on that.
I'm just trying to think though, shouldn't it be the umpire's job? What if Shahidi hadn't realized that? They usually get someone telling them that, or you're always depending on the players to point that out?
The 4th umpire would jump on the radio and say, hey, just reminding you quickly, and then they would, I think it would be almost too late to call a no ball at that point, but they would say to the captain, make sure you get another guy in.
But it was only one person who was watching all of that then.
Yeah, Shahidi had his faculties turned on what is a really hot day in Delhi this time of year. Just to sum up or wrap up the conversation on India's bowling, couple of good wickets to Hardik Pandya, who had perhaps minimal impact in the Australia game, took a bit of an injury too, but at a time when that partnership was going, it was a good one to break it, wasn't it?
Oh yes, both Gurbaz and Asmatullah, those two were really key wickets, because even Gurbaz was batting really well. Bowled that bouncer at a good height. Before that was a slower ball which he missed, and then the next ball was this bouncer. So he got Gurbaz hooking, and then Asmatullah with that slower ball. So there was a little bit of a grip. So that's something that possibly Afghan bowlers will be sort of watching as well. Unless it becomes a lot easier with a little bit of dew, the wicket becomes even better. Then they may not get that grip. But good. Well done to Hardik, because he noticed it.
That ball that sort of got Asmatullah, it seemed like there is the slow ball that you just roll. That seemed like something else, almost like the seam went like that on its way down. Did you notice that ball?
I noticed I didn't see it out the hand originally, but I saw it off the wicket almost, because when you bowl that one like that, it tends to go away, and when you bowl this one, it tends to drift in like that. And I saw it kind of straighten. So immediately I thought, oh, that's either reverse swung, I couldn't see the pace, or he's rolled his wrist on it a little bit. And he subtly just got that roll of the wrist there, and it obviously did nip in, but it almost like straightened with that angle. It's very clever bowling and well disguised. Very good ball to bowl.
I mean, he's also adding more and more to his repertoire as a bowler, Hardik, isn't he? From what we remember of him in his early days. Yeah,
can also open the bowling, bowls the new ball in the shorter format. So he's an all-round cricketer and a smart cricketer too. He knows what's required. Obviously using his batting brain there, where he's gone, I've just gone for a boundary, I've just bowled this ball, what is the most least expected ball that the batsman would want to face now, or what I should bowl, and he's able to use the skill that he's got to execute too.
You've worked with him in his early parts too, but he seems like he's now at the back of what's a cricketer who's on the rise as far as his confidence and achievement go. He's putting that into enhancing his skills?
Oh, he's matured. He's matured as a bowler, and what he has done really well is he's kept things simple. He's just bowled at good pace because he's now fitter and he feels that his body can take that now. So he's bowled consistent lengths. If you notice, he doesn't get the length anywhere. He doesn't vary the length. He just keeps bowling that length, hits that really hard, and even the slower ball, the same length. The only variation that he does is either he bowls a slower ball at the same length or a short ball at the batsman's head. So otherwise he just keeps a good back of a length hitting the top of off, and he feels that in these conditions he's been successful. So instead of trying too many things, which earlier in his career he was much quicker and he was looking to bowl the Yorker, he was trying to bowl a fuller ball, but now he just keeps it at a good length.
Right. Let's look ahead to the chase, shall we? Anil's already pointed out there might be some interest for Afghanistan spinners. On the other hand, India's batters, who found themselves in a hole in that last game at the Chepauk. Ishan Kishan is still to get off the mark in World Cup cricket. Remember, this is his favoured position to bat in ODI cricket, at the top of the order. This is where he's been most prolific. This is where he's made a reputation for himself with an average of 64. That's even after a first ball duck against Australia. Are we expecting him to come out in the same fashion? Doesn't matter that he got a first bowler in the last one?
I think that's the way he bats. I mean, this is his favoured position. In terms of Asia Cup, he had to change from being an opener to come down in the middle order. He did really well against Pakistan in that first game. But since then, because of Shubman Gill's injury, he's been moved back to the top spot. Yes, he will come certainly blazing. I don't think he will hold back from ball one.
And the challenge of a left-arm pacer remains even today. Fazalhaq Farooqi has troubled India in the past and is a capable swing bowler. Dale Steyn, you've worked with him. He's got some skill, this fellow. He may not be the best fielder in the world, but that's a conversation for another day. Let's just talk about his craft, because Farooqi, with the new ball, as we just bring up some numbers on that too, will remain a threat over here from what you've seen?
Yeah, definitely. The big thing for him again is the same as the batters. Has he got the patience before he tries to deliver, his glory ball, so to speak? He's got all the skill. He can swing it away. He can swing it in really big, but he tends to want to bowl every ball that he's got in his bag of tricks in every over, and it does require a little bit of patience, a little bit of consistently bowling in an area and working a batter over. Sometimes he forgets about that, and he feels like every ball is a wicket-taking opportunity. And if he's able to get it right and build enough pressure, he can get traditional wickets just genuinely swinging the ball away the same way Stark does. He can find the outside edge of Kishan going towards the slips, and then for Rohit, he can bring it back in and try and target those pads in a way that Rohit struggled against the likes of Shaheen Shah Afridi and that. So hopefully he's done some homework, and patience for him is going to be the biggest key.
I mean, he gets some good ones, Rohit. We spoke about that in the last game, but it's almost a tired conversation, but it's one worth having again and again. India's top order against quality left-arm pace. Now, I know Rohit Sharma himself has addressed it and said, no, there's no problem. We're fine with this. So too has Virat Kohli, but numbers of two great players whose numbers have always been in the high 40s, 50s, even more, averaging 28 and 34 respectively against left-arm pace in ODIs in the last 2 years. These numbers tend to make for conversation in studio shows like this. Do they at all affect their players? Are they thinking about it at all?
I think any quality ball coming back into a right-hander is tough. It's not easy, and if it's on target early on in your innings, then this is exactly what's going to happen. So I don't think you need to worry too much. Yes, he has made those adjustments. We have seen from the Asia Cup itself. The first game he got out to Shaheen Shah Afridi, and in the second game he made adjustments with his footwork. He was a little more open and slightly away from leg stump. Sure. And that's all you need to do. Just those initial couple of overs. Like Dale mentioned, even Fazal Farooqi has that. He's kiddie as well. He's short, he doesn't get the bounce. He's kiddie, so he needs to just be aware of that. For the first couple of overs, once you get used to, then it's fine.
India to come out hard and sort of take the game to Afghanistan, or just sort of play normally and not find the hole they were in the last game?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they'll come out and bat. It really depends on what Afghanistan offer with the ball. If they're going to run and they're going to bowl a bunch of half volleys, it'll look like India are going guns blazing. If they bowl well, the same way that India bowled well, it might be initially quite tough to get the ball going, but then they'll just find their groove and they'll naturally score. Teams naturally scored almost 5 or 6 and over anyway, so they'll naturally find the boundary as they go along. But it will be interesting to see how Afghanistan come out with the ball. If they try and go searching for wickets, they could lose the game quite quickly in the first 10, because India can get off to a rollicking start, and then it's tough to drag the game back from there. You
see Mujib continuing to take the new ball. That's something we've seen from this Afghanistan side.
Yeah, he's troubled Rohit, on a couple of occasions, with especially facing the spinners first up, and Ishan Kishan as well, a left-hander. So Mujib would fancy bowling his googlies to the left-hander and to Rohit. So yeah, possibly one or two overs and then get Naveen-ul-Haq.
And when Naveen-ul-Haq does come on, reception at Virat Kohli's home ground, are we expecting a nice, friendly, well-behaved second innings, or are we expecting a little bit of needle, some spice? What would you like to see?
I would like to see a good competition between bat and ball. A couple of eyes glaring at each other, that would be quite nice. And a nice one for the World Cup, you know. I think it's been pretty so far, the whole World Cup, both every team
spice,
is nothing like a little bit of spice to get things, you know, excited. We are in India after all, it's a spicy place. Yeah, why not?
Anil?
And in Delhi too.
Yeah. Careful if you can handle the spice in the capital. But yes, thank you very much, Anil Kumble, Dale Steyn. More from you. I'm guessing both of you are still backing India to get the job done here. So I leave the prediction for now. But it's not like they have to just come out and take a walk in the park and get there. 272 is the score. So let's see if Afghanistan can at least challenge India, get some wickets. Though Anil and Dale are quite confident that it should be 2 out of 2 for Rohit Sharma's side by the end of this. Afghanistan have enough to look forward to. So we will have a chat at the end of it all on Maruti Suzuki Arena Presents ESPN Cricket for Matchday. Download the mobile app if you haven't already. Lots happening in and around the World Cup. We've got our best people at the ground who will be getting you the storytelling that this World Cup truly deserves. And it's rolling around nice and fast now. So make sure you download the mobile app. We will see you at the end of the India innings.
Stunning looks, then swift,